Um, one thing to remember is limit the number of times you touch your face, right?
Okay.
Because we're out here just touching stuff,
That's
you
right.
know, and then we touch our face.
Mhm.
And then if we've touched germs, then we enter it into our
Mhm.
system a lot easier than if we don't touch our face and then we wash our hands. I touch my face a lot,
Yeah.
and it's amazing how many times I'll catch myself just, playing with my, cheek,
Mhm. Mhm.
my chin. I don't know why I think I have to touch my face so much,
Because I
but
probably speak mine too.
just be conscious of that because I think that's how we get sick so easily.
Okay.
Another thing that we can do is to stay hydrated, to
Right.
drink
Yeah.
plenty of water, and that just helps flush anything through our system if we get exposed to it. It helps flush it out. Um, we can't be a recluse. We can't stay in our house all the time and never go out into the world. Do you remember when we tried that a couple years ago? You remember when the world shut down?
Right.
Avoiding sickness is kind of a temporary thing because eventually you're going to get out.
You gotta go to some food.
You think about a child who has been in like a stay-at-home with a stay-at-home mom and they never go anywhere. And then they start school and suddenly what? They're sick all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
So sometimes it's good for our systems
Right.
if we have a healthy immune system, and not everybody does, but if you do have a healthy immune system, it's good for your body to be exposed to things so that it learns how to fight things off. But now, if you have an immune compromised system, then you have to be extra careful about being out and being around people that are sick. So that's my little health lesson for today is wash your hands, don't touch your face, drink water, and if you can, just expose yourself to things so your body can do its thing with its, I think about our white blood cells. And when I think about our white blood cells, I picture it like a white horse and then the knight in shining armor. And, they're just out there grabbing sickness and making it better for us.
Yeah.
So if we can increase our white blood cells and our immune system, then they can fight off the sickness for us. And maybe we won't get sick, or it won't be as severe as it could have been, if we didn't take care of ourselves. So, how about some Tai Chi? I feel like our class has kind of been like weird getting started. Like, technically, this is class 4, but there's something about this class that feels like it's class 1. Like, we're kind of starting from the beginning. And it, I'll just take responsibility. I mean, I don't intend to cancel ever. I know things come up.
Right.
I was trained in that incontinence program. That was 1 week I had to cancel. And of course, last week I had to cancel. I thought I was going to my husband's colonoscopy, but I ended up having COVID. And, I hope I don't ever have to cancel again. So we can get really, truly started and into it and just build on our knowledge. Okay. So, I'm,
Jennifer,
yes, ma'am.
I didn't know whether you knew I had come in or not.
Hi, Miss Linda. I'm just
Hi.
I'm sitting here yapping and running my mouth and not paying attention.
It didn't come up.
Jennifer.
It
Ma'am.
didn't come up.
Jennifer.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Go on, Linda. Sorry.
It didn't come up. I had to pull it up.
Well, do you know I have my Claris right here, and I've had it ever since you and I talked. I said I'm going to be tracking it. I'm getting the daily like things where it, like this
Yeah.
morning was Tuesday trivia and I guessed Amelia Earhart and I got it right. Y'all may have a different question. But mine didn't pop up either, and I don't know what that is. So I tell you, technology.
What about her? The one
Huh?
that you're talking to?
Do
The one,
y'all's
yeah.
Claris, do y'all have Claris tablets?
No,
I got well, I'm on the computer.
Okay.
I am too.
Yeah, I was thinking that y'all had on the computer, but I will send them an email and ask, like, I don't understand, because if you go into events, it's there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
class is there, but it's supposed to automatically pop up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Miss Linda,
Jennifer,
ma'am.
Typed in
this
the
is
page.
Kathy. Linda, my sister, will be
Yes.
coming in late. She had an appointment.
Gotcha. Kathy.
Right.
Whenever I'm sitting here looking at you a while ago, I was
Uh-huh.
thinking, I don't think that's Linda. But then I thought, well, girl, you ain't been in class. You don't know who that is. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. It's all right. We have to do this each time. Remember,
I
she
know.
registered me.
Yes. And I'm glad that she did. I'm sorry, Miss.
Well, I'm seeing myself in that little box.
You see yourself in a box? Yeah.
Yeah.
I should be the big box because I'm on a spotlight.
Right.
You are.
Yeah, but y'all.
Okay. Is that
Oh, wait.
not seeing yourself on the little box at the right?
Yeah, you should be on there.
Okay.
Sometimes it's on the top and sometimes it'll be on the side. It just depends on how you do your view.
I just log in the old way. Same thing, ain't it?
What?
No matter how I log in, I type it in.
Yeah, you can.
See, I do Zoom on other things too.
Yeah,
So
I like the Zoom platform, but I like whenever y'all can use the easy button and just go on through and y'all don't have to like worry about passwords or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just get started. We always get started by warming our bodies up, opening and closing our hands, bending our arms, walking around the room. This morning in my workout, my warm up asked me to do, I don't even know what it was called now, but it was like step side to side and like open and close my hands. And I thought that was a neat way to really warm up those joints, those shoulder joints, the hip joints. So whatever kind of movement helps get your body warmed up. If you're seated, tapping your feet, lifting your knees, just getting blood flowing, and that lessens our chance of injury. So we always spend a few minutes walking around and just warming up our bodies to get ready for movement, especially that the first portion is stretching, and it's easier on your muscles to stretch warm muscles. So have you ever thought about like a rubber band? You can take a rubber band and you could just pull it real fast and it's probably going to break or pop. But if you sit here and you just kind of barely do like this, just warming up that rubber by moving it, and then you can gradually make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, because it's warm, it accommodates that stretch without breaking. But if you were to take that rubber band and just yank it like that, it would probably break. Well, that's kind of how our muscles work. We warm them up so that it can handle stretching. It can handle movement without injury or without breakage. And that's, a little bit extreme. Our muscle's not going to break if we don't warm it up. But that's why we warm it up. So it lessens the chance of injury. So just don't forget to do it and be like, oh, it's not a big deal. Usually by this time of the day, you are warm because you've been moving around all day. It's that morning class that, you know, people may have not got up and going yet. So, but we still do it because it's part of our class. All right, so we do stretching for our major joints, our neck joint, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, and ankles. And we have our bodies in a stable stance. And that means that we put our feet about hip width apart. We have a soft bend in our knees and we have good posture. So it's like a string we pull up and down at the same time and our shoulders are relaxed. Nice stable stance. Okay, so starting with our neck, we're going to bring our hands up, palms down. Bring them towards our chin and chest, turn and push them away and follow those hands all the way down. You should feel a little stretch in the back of your neck. Come back up, pull, push, and follow all the way down. Sorry, I had something on my shoe. That wasn't part of the move. Unless you have something on your shoe, then you brush it off. Feels good to stretch that neck. All right, now what we're going to do is drop one hand to our hip and follow this hand as we look towards that shoulder. Come back to the front and switch. Slowly stretch that neck. You don't have to go as far as you can. Just go until you feel a stretch. Each time you do this, it works on the range of motion of your neck. And that's what we want with our major joints is range of motion. We want to be able to move and do things, not just Tai Chi, but we want to be able to live our lives and move our bodies. And so when we have good range of motion, we are more able. All right, for our shoulders, hands to our sides, and we're going to roll those shoulders forward. And then roll them back. It's like a little massage we give ourselves. Roll forward. And back. I like that feeling. It's like someone's rubbing my shoulders. Now it feels awkward to roll forward. But rolling back helps reset your posture too. All right, big shoulder circles. We bring our hands up and then we push our hands down in front of us. I like to take this time to breathe and just really focus on the inhale as I come up and the exhale as I push down. The movement of my hands helps give my breath pace. Sometimes it's hard to slow down. Our world lives in such a hurry. All right, let's grab our ball and separate our hands to stretch our spine. Push one hand up and the other down. Come back to our ball and switch. So we're not fully extending our arms. We're keeping that soft bend there. Stretching our spine. So it's not about our arms, it's about our spine. Think about that string, like you're pushing it up and pulling it down to stretch that spine. You know, our bodies settle as we get older. That's why we get shorter. And so this just stretches that spine. I keep trying to think it's going to make me taller, but it doesn't make me taller. Maybe it just won't. It'll keep me from getting shorter. I don't know. All right, side to side. So grab your ball and we're going to one side just above that knee. So we're not going way over here. It's just a small movement. Switch our hands and come back across. So the hand that's on top, that's the direction we're going. All right. This is when it gets a little more complicated because we're going to be shifting weight to one leg. So have a chair, wall, table, something stable nearby if you need to hold on to something. But we're shifting weight to one leg and we're doing something with the other. And that something is placing our heel forward and our hands will go back while that heel is forward. Then we're going to pause in the middle and then toe back, hands forward. So we're doing this nice leg swing here. And it's a challenge to hold our body weight on one leg. But that making that muscle stronger helps us be more stable and less likely to fall. So let's shift the weight to that other leg. Heel forward, hands back. Pause and toe back, hands forward.
Gotcha.
Keeping our body upright is a challenge because anytime we're shifting weight and moving, we want to kind of lean either into it or against it, but we want to challenge ourselves to stay upright. Anytime we start leaning, we go towards falling, and that's not what we're trying to do here. Opposite, actually. So now let's shift our weight to one leg, taking my hands in the direction of the weight shift and stopping at the end of my body or the frame. I'm not going way out here because that's when I start leaning. And then I lift and tap that foot. Bring it back, switch my hands, shift, and then tap out. Remember to always listen to your body. And if you really feel like you're going to fall, then don't pick that foot up. Just leave it there and practice the weight shift. Skip the hand movement and hold on to a chair if that makes you feel more stable and comfortable. But at the same time, challenge yourself just a little bit because that's how you're going to grow, is by challenging yourself. The next one is for our knees. So we have our loose fist down at our hips. Shift to one leg, lift, tap and punch. Bring it back. Shift, lift, tap and punch.
Yes.
Taking it slow, staying upright as we shift the weight. Very good. Now let's step forward. So we shift the weight, step heel toe, shift as I punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Making sure you're staying upright, making sure you're breathing. Just do a little check-in with yourself. All right, now for our ankles. Shift and then heel toe. Let's rock that foot. Working on that range of motion of that ankle joint, which can help support our body weight. Bring it back and do the other foot, heel toe. Bring it back. And then big toe, little toe.
Oh, yeah.
Side to side. It feels a little bit awkward, but it's you know, that joint is a ball and socket joint. And so it goes more directions than like your knee goes. If your knee ever goes in more directions, then you got a problem, don't you? All right, give your body a little shake. And those are our major joints that we always stretch before we do our Tai Chi. Now, we've been through several of our movements: commencement, open and close, single whip, and we may have started talking about waving hands in clouds. I don't remember. And that's why we're going to kind of review and then just kind of start really from here and growing. So let's talk about commencement. Now, remember, Tai Chi is a series of movements done in a certain order. And so this Tai Chi that we do is Sun style Tai Chi, S-U-N. And that means that you have a higher stance, right? So you're not squatted down like in some Tai Chis. You just have a soft bend in your knee. You're not actually squatted down.
Right.
Also in this Tai Chi, we follow principles under movement control, body structure, and internal. And with our movement control, that talks about our pace of movement. We move very, very slowly, and that's a challenge. Our goal is to move smoothly and continuously. And our body structure is upright. That's why I keep talking about our posture and not leaning. Another part of our body structure is weight transfer. So we spend a lot of time throughout our movement shifting weight from one leg to the other leg while we do something with that opposite foot. We are practicing weight transfer, and when we do it slowly, that's what helps our muscles become stabilizers and strong and helps keep us upright. So let's talk about the first move, commencement. It is a step forward. So we step forward by one, shifting weight to the right foot. And now that our left foot is free, I can step out. And it's just a small step forward. When I step forward, I step empty, which means there is no weight given to that foot right away. Once I establish that step forward, then I give it weight. Then I bring my right foot forward. So I took one step forward. I shift right, I stepped left, I shift left, and then I bring the right foot next to it. So that's the footwork of commencement. The handwork. The handwork starts with our hands by our sides, and our hands are going to face each other the whole time. So they're going to come up. They're going to come down. They're going to come in towards our hips, up our chest. I always think about an elevator. Push out and then back in. And when I end, my fingers are pointed up. So when I come up, my hands are out. And I want you to notice how there's that really soft bend right there. That's a song joint. That's an open joint that allows energy to flow through your body. What I'm not doing is Frankenstein, right? My elbows are locked. We're not doing that. We're keeping that soft. So when you see my arms out like this, you may think that my arms are out, but they're not out. They're out, but they have that soft bend. So that's an important component because song joints or open joints are is one of our principles for Tai Chi. We want to follow the principles because we want all of the benefits from Tai Chi. And if we don't do the Tai Chi within principles, then we're not going to get the benefits. So we want bring those hands up. We bring our hands down towards our hips, up our bodies, out, and then back in. So up, down, in, up, out, and back in. So remember,
Okay.
when we end, our fingers are up. So that's what happens with our handwork of commencement. Up, down, in, up, out, back in. Easy peasy, right?
Yeah.
It's only when we go trying to do our foot work and our hand work together that it gets complicated, because there was no problem shifting weight to one leg, stepping forward, shifting, and bringing the foot forward. There was no problem with that. That was easy too. Now we're going to put them together.
Ugh.
One way that helped me be successful in learning these movements is to connect what is happening with my hands to what is happening with my feet. And there are two moments in commencement where it just makes sense to me, and I connect these two movements. So when we bring our hands down, right? We bring our hands down. That motion right there. Think about shifting that weight to that right foot, that very first leg movement where we go shift. Doesn't that feel like it's down? Because I'm shifting down and it feels like down.
Okay.
So your hands coming down and that weight shift, that happens at the same time. So that's a connection you can make to help you remember how to match up the hands to the feet. Another time is that, I'm stepped out forward. My hands are here. In my handwork, we bring our hands out. And in our footwork, we know that we shift our weight to that foot that we step forward. Well, those two things happen at the same time. I shift forward and I bring my hands out. Doesn't that seem to match? Out with our hands, forward with our weight. So we have shift down, hands down, step. Now we have shift forward, hands forward. Okay, so those are the two things where when you connect those, then it helps you learn it better. It helps you do it right. So we're going to practice commencement.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and add in the second movement, which is open and close, before we practice. And we can just practice those two together. So when I end and I bring those hands in at the end of commencement, I'm ready for open and close. So at that time, I go open, close. And that's it. That's all there is to know about the second movement is open, close. Easy peasy. So let's practice those two together. We bring our hands up, down, shift weight to that right leg.
Oh.
Step left, bring those hands in and up. Now shift left as those hands go out. Bring that right foot forward and then bring your hands back for open and close. All right, let's practice it again. And commence. Hands come up. Then they go down and I shift right. I step left. I bring my hands in and up. I shift left as my hands go out. Bring the right foot forward and bring my hands in and open and close. let's practice again. Commence. Hands up. Down, shift right. Step left. Hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. All right, let's do it several times.
Yeah.
And commence. Hands come up. Down, shift right. Step left. Hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. Again. Hands up. Down, shift right. Step left. Hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. Again. Commence. Hands up. Down, shift right. Step left. Hands come in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. Are you feeling better and better about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's see if we can do it without me talking. I'm going to still do it with you, but let me not talk you through it. So just follow me. Commence. Open, close. Again, commence.
Come in.
Open, close. Again,
Again.
commence. Up. Down. Shift. Open, close. Those are our first two movements. So we'll keep practicing those. So it's okay if you're not perfect at it yet. Things to keep in mind, the pairing, like I said, that your hands go down as your weight goes down. The hands go forward as your weight goes forward. Open, close. You want to keep upright posture. You want to stay that slow, smooth, and continuous. Your hands face each other that whole time. And you'll notice in our Tai Chi, our hands face each other often. So we have, our next move is called single whip. But before I go to single whip, let me turn around so you can do that follow me from the back and just see if that's helpful. So you're very familiar with what it looks like from the front. But let's do commencing and open and close.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. And commence. Hands come up. Down, shift right. Step left. Hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. One more time. Commence. Hands up. Down, shift right. Sorry. Step left. Hands come in and up. Shift left as the hands go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. So that gives you some practice looking from behind. Sometimes it's easier to follow from looking at somebody going the same direction you're going. But I know that y'all like to see me from the front. So I do mirror image when I'm going to the front.
Okay.
let's do single whip. That's our third move. Now we do single whip to the right first, and then we'll do it to the left. But waving hands in clouds is involved in there too. But let's just talk about our first single whip. So we're here at the end of open and close, and we're going to shift our weight to our left leg, and we're going to step out with our right. Now remember, anytime we step in Tai Chi, it's an empty step. We don't immediately give weight to that foot. So we step, but we don't give it weight yet, and then we do. So then we're standing here with weight on both feet. This right here is called a staggered stance. This is a very stable stance. Now notice my foot is at a little bit of an angle. Notice my foot, it didn't go very far. I didn't take a big step out here in the world. I simply shifted left and stepped out right. Now that right foot is at an angle. It's about a 45-degree angle. You can figure out what kind of works for you. I mean, obviously it's not straightforward like the back foot here. So whatever angle kind of works for you.
Okay.
You want it to feel comfortable on your knee. You want it to be comfortable on your ankle in the way you place it out there. Boom. So because it's at an angle, it naturally turns your body in the angle of that foot. And so that's the beginning of our single whip. So we shift left, step right. Remember, it's empty. Now we adjust the weight. So now there's weight on both feet. So once we get in that staggered stance, it's time to do something with our hands. Now our hands are facing each other from waving hands in clouds. And what they're going to do is push out away from our bodies. Remember to keep the soft edge at our elbow. We're not locking joints out here. Pushing it out. Once we get those hands out, we turn to where our palm is facing away from us. And then we're going to separate those hands like that. And our eyes are going to follow our left hand. Now, how do we remember what eyes or what hand to follow with our eyes? The rule of thumb in single whip is follow the hand opposite of the foot that is stepped out. So if you know that your right foot is stepped out, then you follow with your eyes and head your left hand. Now notice when I separated my hands, I was following my left, but I kept moving my right too. Just like that. Opened it up. Now when I opened up, that's the whip. It's called a single whip, and that's the whip part of that movement. Opening both hands. Sometimes it's like out of sight, out of mind, and it's easy to just continue to watch or move the one that you're watching. And because you're not watching this other hand, your right hand, it stops. You're like, oh, what about that hand? I forgot all about you. I was focusing on my left hand. Well, don't do that.
Okay.
And I want you to do it wrong on purpose. I want you to put your hands out, turn, and follow that left hand and forget about moving your right. Now I want you to do it correctly. So push, turn, and open both hands. Did you feel a lot of a difference in your chest? You should feel your chest really opening up, stretching open. You should feel a little bit of stretch across the top of your back and shoulders. And that's what you want to feel as you separate your hands, is that open of your chest and that stretch of your muscles. You don't get that if you only move your left hand. And I know, huh?
I'm not talking, I'm talking to my dog.
Oh, okay. I know that it's easy to forget what you're not looking at. So that's why I'm reminding you to be conscious of moving both open, and that's a whip. So I end here. I'm all the way open without going back. Of course,
Okay.
we go back, that will start hurting. So that's the movement of single whip. We go shift left, step out right, adjust weight. That puts us in that stable stance. I push my hands out, turn my hands, and then separate both of them, eyes and head following my left. That's single whip. Now, we're then going to do waving hands and clouds, but there's single whip in the other direction. It's just like that. It's just with opposite feet. So practice it with the opposite feet. We're here at open and close. I shift left. I shift right. Sorry. I step left. I adjust my weight. I push, turn, and separate. This time following my right hand. Because what's the rule? We follow the hand opposite of the foot that stepped out. So whichever side you're single whipping, whatever foot is stepped out, you are following with your head and eyes the opposite hand. So keep that in mind. That's a single whip move or rule. And if you ever get to part 2 and there's a step back single whip that looks like this, shift, step back, push, turn, separate. You follow the hand opposite of the foot that steps. So whether you step forward or whether you step back, the rule is the same. You follow the hand that opposite of the foot that steps. So that is your single whip. We go to the right first, and then we'll do waving hands and clouds, and then we'll do left single whip, and then we'll do waving hands and clouds. So let's do those first 3 moves. So starting with commencement, we go and begin. Commence up, down and shift right. Step, hands come in and up. Shift as they go out, right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, eyes follow the left hand. There we go. That's our single whip. You feel good about those first 3 moves? Okay. Next is, and don't feel like I'm like getting in a hurry, because here's the thing. I throw stuff at you, and then I get you just this much familiar with it, and then we move on. But the goal is that we come and practice and practice and practice and practice. So I'm introducing you to waving hands and clouds. Now, waving hands and clouds includes Tai Chi walking to the side. What is Tai Chi walking? Okay, so we have Tai Chi walking forward, and Tai Chi walking is when we step out and we don't give it weight. That's that empty step. And then we do. We place the other foot out front, no weight right away, and then we do. So step empty, then give it weight. Step empty, then give it weight. Step empty, then give it weight. Okay? Step empty, then give it weight. Now, that is Tai Chi walking, and I encourage you to practice Tai Chi walking in your home. I don't suggest doing it in public because you may get run over and people may be wondering what in the heck you're doing. But Tai Chi walking helps keep you conscious of posture, helps keep you conscious of the empty step, and then weight transfer. And when you weight transfer, you're practicing using these muscles, and that's how these muscles get stronger. So as you step and it's empty, all that weight is on the other leg. Then you shift. Now all the weight's on this leg. So when you empty step, that whole time the weight has been on one leg. And so that's how you practice holding weight on one leg without even realizing it. It's Tai Chi walking, but you have moments of holding all of your weight on one leg. Now, thankfully, you have the other leg out there that's there to support you. But while you're doing it slowly, smoothly, continuously, while you're practicing that empty step, while you're practicing your upright posture, you have your weight on one leg for quite a long time. And so that really will help you as we practice our Tai Chi. You know, you think about in our warm-ups when we do our hip warm-up, how we shift our weight to one leg and then we move this right here. That takes a lot of balance. Shift. So I'm holding my weight on that one leg for that whole time while I'm moving this one around. So anytime you can practice weight transfer, you're going to get these muscles strong. And when these muscles are strong, you are less likely to fall. So in waving hands and clouds, we Tai Chi walk sideways. All right. So I step out, and anytime I step, there's no weight transfer just yet. And then there is. Then I follow step. No weight just yet. Then there is. Then I step out. No weight just yet. Then there is. So see, I'm walking sideways. Shift. Empty. Shift. Step empty. Shift. Step empty. See? Tai Chi walking to the right. This is our first waving hands and clouds movement. Now, I'm almost to this wall. So I'm going to take off and go to my left. Step out. Shift. Follow step. Shift. Step. Shift. Follow step. We're practicing weight transfer. We're practicing upright posture. We're practicing the empty step. We're practicing holding our weight on one leg, even though that it doesn't feel like that's what we're doing. It is what we're doing. Holding the more able we are to hold our weight on one leg, the less likely we are to fall. Well, it's because that means our muscles are strong, that we're able to hold ourselves on one leg. That doesn't mean we have to stand here with one leg up like the flamingo. To prove it, we can have weight on one leg and both feet still be flat on the floor. But practicing weight transfer is really what can get your muscles strong. So I encourage you to do that, whether you're Tai Chi walking forward or Tai Chi walking to the right, and then Tai Chi walking to the left. So take 10 minutes each day and just practice some weight transference. It's going to help your Tai Chi. So waving hands and clouds. Let's talk about what happens with our hands. Obviously, we do something with our hands because that's what it's called. So here's what the hands look like. So one hand is going to be down here at my hips or hip. The other hand's going to be across my body like a sash. This movement right here is going to be a lot like when we hold our ball and we turn our torso. In the beginning, when we're warming up our spine and we go side to side, this is a torso movement. So my legs are facing forward, my hips are facing forward, my knees, my feet, my lower body is not moving. It's only this part of my body. Now my head is going along with my body, but I'm not turning my head. My head is facing forward, but because my body is moving, it looks like my head is moving, but it's just attached to my head or to my body. So I'm not turning my head, I'm just turning my body. So just like this one, where we just move our torso, that's what we do in waving hands and clouds. Have our cross body hand on top, and so this one is on top, is the direction we go. So we turn. Now let's switch our hands. This one comes down, this one comes up. Now let's turn. This one comes down, this one comes up, and turn. Down, up, turn. Down, up. I think this feels like a robot. Down, up. So you're bringing this hand down, almost like you're banging a drum, right? Bang a drum. Bring the hand up and turn. Bang the drum, come up and turn. Just like that. Very good. All right, so those are the top and bottom movements of waving hands and clouds. I'll show you what it looks like, but we're not going to worry about practicing it today. We're going to do that next week. But here's what it looks like. I'm coming from open and close. I'm going to do that single whip. Single whip. Now I'm ready to wave hands and clouds. I step once, switch my hands and turn. Step switch, turn. Step switch, turn. So you see what it looks like. There's an open and close at the end of those 6 steps. You see what it looks like. You know this part. You know this part where you're stepping. But putting them together sometimes makes you feel like, like you're like the whole pat your head and rub your belly. Like it just, but with practice, we will get there. And so that's why I'm not pushing you towards it today, but to familiarize you with the movements, and then we'll put them together next week. But we have learned and went over commencement, open and close, single whip, and then the beginning of waving hands and clouds. So that's our first 4 movements. And there are 6 basic 6 movements. So we're almost learned the basic movements. We just need to practice and get better at them. So also we talked about Tai Chi walking, where we step empty and then we shift our weight. And so that's something we want to practice all the time, is to empty step, then shift the weight. We do that throughout our Tai Chi movements. So let's end class by giving ourselves a little fist massage, pulling those knees up as high as you can as you tap your thigh with your fist to give yourself a little massage. And then the next thing we want to do is cause tension. So tighten everything up and realize that is not how we want to live. And then let it go. Tighten it up and release, because we don't want to live with tension. Tense and release. Tense and release. Tense and release. Big shoulder circle. One more. And then to end class, we have a fist with our right hand representing our strength. We have our left fingers all together representing our friendship. Our thumb in representing our humility. So strength, friendship, and humility. And we put those together, and in mutual respect, we say namaste.
Namaste. I'm
Very
sorry to
good,
hear
y'all.
you.
We're gonna get this, y'all. What you say, Miss Linda?
I said, I'm sorry to hear that you were sick last week.
Me
I'm
too.
glad you were able to be here.
Thank you. And I plan on being here for the rest of the times. I'll have COVID again in 2 years. I'm okay with that, but I don't want it a time before that.
Yes, you are. Jennifer,
Yes, ma'am.
the Kathy's with a K.
Oh, well, thank you
Okay.
for telling me that. Because I sure gave you a C. You know, I'm a Crosby, I'm a C, so I defer to a C.
Okay. Not a problem.
Good gracious, we're gonna get your name before
Well, eventually.
week. Well, if you speak with Miss Linda, tell her that we missed her and that we're back
Okay.
in the swing of it, and y'all can rely on class, and we'll keep moving forward. Okay.
Okay. And I'll remind her to go back to your site
Okay.
review.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Love y'all.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.